In this video, I'm going to teach you the exact fat loss strategy I used with my client Mike and how I was able to get him to drop 51 pounds eating the same amount of food in both of these photos. So I'm just going to give you guys the entire kitchen sink for free to help you guys on your fat loss journey, down to the actual macronutrients that I gave Mike, down to the changes I made per week, and even the daily supplementation that I gave him to optimize fat loss. So if you guys don't know me by now, my name's Adam Bunnell. I'm an online fat loss professional, and I specialize in hormonal priming, body recomposition, and higher level forms of nutrition through metabolism manipulation. I've worked with hundreds of men around the world, and I have got hundreds of men into elite level shape, down to 6% body fat, and all the way up to 100 pounds down in some of our best case studies. So there's going to be a case study folder on my main YouTube channel with all of our client case studies, breaking everything down step by step, as well as an in-depth guide on metabolic priming pinned to my YouTube channel. But for today, I'm going to walk you through the exact fat loss strategy I used with Mike and how I was able to make this possible. So not long ago, I actually did a metabolic priming overview in a case study with Mike and how I was able to get him to eat 1,200 more calories and lose 26 pounds. So that will be on my YouTube channel in our case studies folder. I walked through the exact strategy of metabolic priming and how I was able to get him to lose 26 pounds eating 1,200 more calories. But that's just the half of it. Because after we primed Mike's metabolism, was able to get him to lose 26 pounds, he lost another 25. So just yesterday, he reached the goal we were aiming for of under 200 pounds, weighed in at 199 as of just yesterday, and he's only eating 2,000 calories, right? So he's not on a low-calorie deficit. He's not on a low-carbohydrate deficit. I think that he's actually eating 175 grams of carbs, 200 grams of protein, and 50 grams of fat, which isn't very low at all. So a lot of guys, you guys don't need low-carb diets. You just need the correct structure and putting your body in a position hormonally when you can actually adapt and be able to eat more carbohydrates and have more sustainability. So within Mike's plan, we put certain strategy in place to allow him to lose body fat and also maximize the amount of food that he was eating to stay sustainable, and so he can make the progress and sustain the progress. So like at a high level overview, this is kind of what it looks like with Mike's actual body weight. So he weighed at 249 when he first came to us. During the metabolic priming phase, he got all the way down to 223. And then just as of yesterday, after our fat loss phase, he's down to 199, right? And so he started out eating, and I have the initial consultation right here with him. He started out eating 2,000 calories a day. So he's eating 2,000 calories a day on the left right here. And just as of yesterday, he's still eating 1,950 calories, 2,000 calories. So he's eating the same amount of food in both of these photos, but he's down 51 pounds. So how do we make this possible? So what I use, the mechanism of metabolic priming, allows us to optimize the way your body burns food before we go out and make the body burn more calories in the form of exercise, walking, calorie deficits. And so we maximize and we structure everything. And so our clients lose a significant amount of weight eating more food. And then we put them in a calorie deficit and they're even able to even lose more weight. And you put yourself in a position at the end where you're not eating terrible low amounts of calories or terrible low amounts of carbohydrates. You're nailing macronutrients and you're understanding what you need to eat nutritionally. So if you guys want to check out how I prime Mike's metabolism, like I said, there'll be another video in my case studies folder where I kind of walk through this step by step. But shortly after this video we actually put him in an actual structured fat loss phase, which means that yes, we start lowering calories and adding cardio. So within this case study we did, in the course of Mike losing almost 26 pounds eating more food, he was doing no cardio. He wasn't doing any cardio at all, actually. I think we put him on a 10K step per day goal to hit, but no high intensity cardio, just walking, stuff that you can do, going to the grocery store, going to work. And it makes it very easy to accomplish because it's a low barrier to entry form of cardio. And so we were able to get him to lose 26 pounds just by walking and eating the right amount of food. But once we were able to get him to the point where he was eating the maximum amount of calories that his metabolism would actually allow him, then we can actually go into a structured fat loss phase. And so this was his day one, what he looked like on day one of his actual cut, right? And I have the nutrition information right here. We actually dropped him 75 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat right off the bat, and we started cardio just 3 times weekly at 25 minutes and just a little over a 300 calorie deficit, right? And so as he checked in each week, I would check in on his body composition. Yes, his weight, but his weight doesn't really mean that much to me. But more importantly, his body composition. Is he leaning out? Are we maintaining muscle tissue? And is our energy still being maintained as well? And so each week as he checked in, and like a lot of times we didn't really actually make changes in between check-ins. I mean, our clients check check in once per week with us. And as long as we're losing 0.5 to 1.5 pounds per week, we don't really need to change much. And so from 11.1 all the way to 11.29, we didn't really change anything at all, right? But he started to actually significantly lean out. You can even tell in his front shot how much he actually started to lean out. So I don't have the exact amount of weight he lost from 11.1 to 11.29, but when he did hit on 11.29, then we kind of seen a little bit of a plateau, right? We started to see kind of like a plateau where his weight wasn't lowering each week as much as it was the weeks before, because it starts to slow down. But we don't want to make changes in between that because we want to maximize each iteration. And so we're getting the maximum amount of fat loss out of each iteration. And then on the 11.29, when he did finally hit that kind of slowing point, all we did was put him in another calorie deficit. We didn't raise cardio. We just lowered a little bit of food, lowered 400 calories, 225 grams of protein, 10 fat, and 25 carbohydrates. And then the next change we actually made was not even till 12:20. So like between 11:29 and 12:20, we didn't really change much at all. We just waited till his body composition started to actually slow down, his weight started to slow down, and then we made another change. And then going into even like the new year, right, where we actually started to raise steps for him. And so I'll show you the daily goals with Mike here and the supplementation I put in, as well as the steps, and kind of describe each one in particular and what they really do. But like what I'm trying to show you here is that, one, you don't really make too much changes when shit's going good, right? You just kind of let it kind of slide. You can kind of check in each week, make sure we're still making great progress. And if we are, we don't really change anything. They don't change anything that isn't broken. But I think where a lot of guys go wrong is they get impatient. They'll maybe lose 2-3 pounds one week. Next week, they'll lose like maybe 1, and they'll think they need to make a change like super fast. Well, what you're doing is you're creating inconsistencies, right? You should be losing 0.5 to 1.5 pounds per week. Some weeks you'll lose 0.5. Some weeks you'll lose all the way up to 2, 3. It just depends on overall digestion, how your body's actually responding. But, a weight plateau doesn't necessarily need to be lower calories or add cardio. You have to look at other factors as well as digestion, inflammation, and everything in between. And so as he checked in, we would on 110, we gave him a refeed, right? And so during a cutting phase, we give our clients periodical refeeds to make sure we are maintaining hormone levels, as well as like within the actual thyroid in the form of T3. And in a sense, you can call this kind of maintaining metabolism, but more scientifically, it goes down to the actual hormone of T3, which is the active thyroid hormone, which is directly correlated to carbohydrates, right? And so each week as he checked in, we gave him a refeed, and after we gave him a refeed, we would lower the food, add a little bit of cardio. We moved cardio to 4 times weekly. And on the 14th, we lowered 75 grams of carbohydrates and finally got him a little under that 2,000 calorie mark. And he finally hit that 51 pounds down. And the thing is he's not done. Like, we still have some more, we still have some more cardio and some more calories to work with. But the truth about it is we took this we took this slow, because the slower that you take it, the more sustainable it is. The more you stray away from overly aggressive hunger and make sure to maintain leptin levels and not spike hunger way too much. And so he has a lot more progress to make. But like, here's where it really gets good to the actual supplementation and actual mechanism that we put into his plan, right? So yes, he dropped down below 200 for the first time, 51 pounds down. But what really is good is what we actually put into his daily goals, right? And so I'm going to run through Mike's daily goals step by step so we can kind of understand what each one of them does inside of our entire program. And this is where it really gets good. Like, I should be paying you guys watching this for this, because this is like where it gets very granular, and then we're giving our clients specific things, and so that they can make the max amount of progress. So our clients weigh in 3 times per week because we want to see an actual trend for the week, right? 3 to 4 times a week our clients weigh in, because some weeks or some days your weight will spike a little bit. It's completely normal. Just overall digestion. Maybe you didn't sleep as well. Maybe you have a little bit of inflammation. So we try to take the trend of the week and make decisions based upon that. And so our clients check in 3 to 4 times per week. I have for Mike right here 1 to 2 servings of veggies, which is going to be good for fiber, because digestion is the first optimization when it does come to fat loss, because the way your body breaks down absorbed food, it's how you're going to get the maximum amount of energy output out of the food that you're actually eating. So 1 to 2 servings of veggies for fiber. So this is where it really gets good. We actually put a bioidentical supplement called HCl yohimbine in our clients' plans. We have them take it before fasted cardio. And I'll even kind of show you within our back-end modules that we have for our clients, like what HCl yohimbine is. So HCl yohimbine is an herbal supplement that we use in a lot of our clients' plans. And what it is really is best before fasted cardio. So this is kind of the breakdown of what HCl yohimbine is. You guys can pause this video and kind of read into this, but I'll kind of read it out loud. So yohimbine is beneficial in the fat mobilization process of burning body fat, effectively making it easier to mobilize alpha receptor heavy fat cells to be burned off. Basically, this means that yohimbine can help you lose stubborn fat noticeably compared to not using it at all. A good way to think about it is yohimbine doesn't help you burn fat directly. It just makes stubborn body fat fall off easier. Found in a variety of bioidentical sources, principal alkaloid extracted from the bark of the yohimbine tree. So it's rapidly absorbed right before your cardio, right? So it helps with actually the fat mobilization process, and it's not like this crazy over-the-counter, 70 ingredient fat burner. It's an all-natural herbal supplement that aids in fat mobilization, and a lot of some pre-workouts that will have it in there as well. But we do use HCl yohimbine in our clients' plans. It's very safe, FDA approved. It's not anything absolutely crazy, but it does help with raising heart rate a little bit and getting you to sweat a little bit. So within our clients, we actually, when they get pretty low into a fat loss phase, we'll actually cut and limit the carbohydrates they are actually intaking, right? And we'll kind of stick to more higher glycemic carbohydrates. So I know there's a lot of misconception out there about insulin sensitivity and overall high glycemic versus low glycemic carbohydrates. None of that matters. What matters at the end of the day is digestion, right? So higher glycemic carbohydrates, and when you simplify everything and you cut out sugars, you just cut out a lot of sodium, you cut out all these multi-ingredient, maybe even protein bars, you can simplify the digestion process very, very well. And so we'll cut our carb sources with our clients when they get to a certain point on their actual plan, and we'll stick to white rice, cream of rice, fruit, and rice cakes. Very simple, single ingredient carbohydrates that are high glycemic, that are very easy to actually digest, right? And so that makes the world of difference when it comes to fat loss. So moving on, we very slowly started to get Mike's cardio up. He started at 25 minutes 3 times weekly, as you saw. But over time, we slowly started to get this up. And it's not like he's doing any crazy amount of cardio. He's doing 35 minutes 4 times a week, which is it's not very much compared to what some people think they need to do with cardio. And so we're just doing 35 minutes of cardio 4 times weekly. But we can actually raise this, right? When he does hit maybe another plateau, or weight starts to kind of plateau out a little bit, we can actually raise this a little bit more because he's not doing over-intensity amount of cardio as of right now. And he's 51 pounds down, eating 2,000 calories, only doing cardio 4 times a week. How much cardio are you currently doing right now watching this? So anyways, next thing we do is fish oil pill just for all cognitive benefits, making sure we're regulating cholesterol levels, making sure that we're getting good omegas in to improve joints, improve inflammation, overall just healthy fats. Gallon of water a day. So a gallon of water a day will help with digestion even more. And as I start to describe this, you can kind of see where we get a lot of our aspects at with our clients, and why we put everything in there is really to maximize digestion, right? Because like I mentioned, digestion is the corner point and the first thing you have to optimize for overall fat loss, right? So digestion is huge, and a gallon of water a day will help with electrolyte imbalances, but more importantly, overall digestion. So kelp supplement. So I don't know, many of you may not have heard of kelp supplement, but what kelp is, and it's in our back-end modules as well. So kelp is iodine. So kelp is a natural supplement that has iodine in it. Iodine is a mineral that helps body make thyroid hormones, which control metabolism. Iodine deficiency can lead to improper glucose metabolism because iodine is needed to make thyroid hormones, thyroxine, and I can never say that word right, which assist in the creation of proteins and enzymes activity as well as regulating normal metabolism. So as our clients get into more of a fat loss phase, we'll put kelp supplement in there for overall iodine. So we're maximizing the current thyroid and all the thyroid hormones that make up your metabolism, and so we're not degrading the metabolism as much. Men's multivitamin, good for micronutrients, and then steps. So I just made a video my last video that I posted about the zones of cardio that we do for our clients' plans, right? And so why steps are important. And if you want to watch that video that I posted on Wednesday before today, go ahead, because I break down the exact types of cardio that burn the most fat and the substrates of energy that you actually use during those cardio. So we use step goals within our clients' plans as well as our strength training and as well as a higher intensity cardio, because each one burns a certain amount of calories, right? And a certain set of energy. So steps, for instance, oxidize body fat. steps will hyper target more body fat actually being lost. So at a zone 1 and zone 2 cardio, steps will burn 85% more fat than a higher intensity cardio. So higher intensity cardio burns more carbohydrates, but your strength training and higher intensity cardio helps with the mobilization process of body fat, because the mobilization of body fat is actually stimulated from epinephrine and adrenaline. And so we're putting a stimulus within strength training and higher level cardio to overall deplete glucose from carbohydrates, because at a zone 3 and zone 4, you use more of glucose and more carbohydrates for actual energy, and we're actually mobilizing body fat. And on the back end of things with steps, we're oxidizing that body fat. So we're mobilizing it and we're oxidizing it. And that's how, one, you maximize fat loss. You have to understand how fat is actually burned. It's a 2-step process. And so we put steps into our clients' plans when they first get in, but even in a fat loss phase, we try to actually maintain those steps. And on top of that, we try to do a little bit more cardio at a more glucose fasted state. And the reason why we want to do it at a glucose fasted state in more of like a quote unquote fasted sense, like right in the first thing in the morning or right after the workouts, is because at a glucose fasted state, you're more able to oxidize a significant amount more body fat, right? And we'll think about it like this. From scientifically, when you're at a glucose fasted state, the body is going to go and it's going to release triglycerides from your fat cells into the bloodstream to later then be oxidized, right? And so at a fasted state, doing a higher intensity fasted cardio in the first thing in the morning right after your workout, we're able to mobilize that body fat better, release triglycerides in the bloodstream, and then throughout the day, as we're doing steps and as we're doing other forms of activity like non-energy activity thermogenesis, we're oxidizing that body fat. And so that's how we make the maximum progress as each one. And then sleep 8 hours, right? So I'd say the majority of the clients that I do work with, because like I've mentioned before, I work with a lot of high level men who are managers, business owners, CEOs, executives. We have ER doctors, we have private pilots. But scientifically, they've even done studies that men in these positions have 30% more cortisol that they actually have to manage, right? And that's the reason why you're seeing a lot of CEOs, business owners, executives, etc., gain a lot of weight and not be able to get it off, because cortisol is the number 1 hormone in the body that prohibits actual fat loss, but prohibits muscle growth as well. So we have to put a process in there to make sure that, one, we're getting a good amount of sleep, and we're making sure to get good nutrition to reduce that cortisol with carbohydrates, because that's what carbohydrates do. But from an overall sense, like Mike here is not on low calories. He's doing cardio 4 times a week for 35 minutes, and he's 51 pounds down. And we can get him even lower in a little bit in calories if the time comes that we need to, but we don't try to change too much that isn't broken. This is how you make predictable, sustainable progress. You set a system in place, you set certain parameters that you actually check, and to make sure the boxes are checked, and if they are, then you just obviously keep going into the next week. And so like slow progress is sustainable progress, because it's going to mitigate a lot of hunger levels, it's going to mitigate a lot of inflammation, and it's going to put you in a position where you're not eating 1,600 calories and you're going keto because it's the only way you can get into a calorie deficit. I mean, we're eating 175 grams of carbs here, which is by no means a low carbohydrate diet. This is moderate amount of carbs per day, but he got up to almost 375 grams of carbohydrates a day. And so that's what the metabolic priming process is beneficial for, is raising that bar, raising the carbohydrates, losing a bunch of weight while eating more food, because who doesn't love that? And then putting yourself in a better position for a fat loss phase. And so you can have a transformation like this, where you lose 51 pounds, but you're eating the same amount of food in both of these photos. If you're somebody who has been struggling, you just feel like you're spinning the wheels and you just don't have the correct guidance, the correct plan, the correct structure to make the predictable progress that's actually sustainable for you, there's going to be a link down below where you can sign up for a time and see if you do apply. If you do, and if you're a good fit to work with me, we'll sit down and I'll map you out some high level strategies, show you look like to partner up. And if it's a great fit to work together, I'll map it out exactly step by step, monitor you very closely, make adjustments as such, and you won't have to think about anything, right? And because we make it as easy as possible for each one of our clients to make this type of progress. You think Mike wakes up in the morning not knowing what he's going to eat, not knowing how much cardio he's going to do, not knowing what he's going to work out? We take care of all that. We plan it out step by step by step by step. All he has to do is follow the road that we build for him. And that's how you make predictable progress, but also not overthink. So like if you're somebody who has been struggling, spinning your wheels without the correct guidance, and you know enough's enough and you're ready to actually get in the best shape of your life, like I said, there's going to be a link down below. sign up for a time, see if you get fit to work together, and we'll get you in the best damn shape of your life, because we got the track record. We've worked with hundreds of men, and we've done this hundreds of times before. And so, like I said, if you are struggling, sign up for a time down below, and I hope to see you on the call.